Greetings, family. Empress D in nature. I hope you guys are well. I'm certainly well. Look where I'm in heaven, sitting in a beautiful nature space, just chilling. I hope you guys are getting the same opportunity to experience nature like I am. And I hope that you guys are leveling up and getting to know yourselves more and more every day. Okay, family? I just wanted to talk about my observations in my fellow human being as of late. I have to say that over the last couple of years, people have changed a lot. Okay, one of the ways that I've noticed the manifestation of the change in humanity is in driving. Okay, I remember once upon a time when that left lane, like the extreme left lane of the road, used to be for passing, and then the lanes to the right are for the slower traffic, right? Now I feel like it's opposite, or now I feel like there's no rule at all, right? That's just one thing I notice with driving. Another thing I notice with driving is that people like to drive in single file. Even though there might be 2 or 3 lanes open, everybody seems to want to follow each other, right? It's really weird. And then the other thing I noticed in driving is that people are just like zoned out in a hands on the wheel, like zoned out, not looking left to right state. This is just my observations in the last couple of years, what I've noticed about humanity. And I've spoken to other people who have said the same thing. They notice that there's a change in the way people drive. Another thing that I notice about people are that people, ignorance is bliss, okay? Ignorance is bliss. I think that people rather be ignorant than know. And the reason why I'm coming to this conclusion is because over my travels in the last few weeks, I've been meeting and speaking to a lot of people. And we're talking about touchy and controversial topics. And what I found consistent in everybody that I speak to is that people don't want to think outside of the box. People are afraid to consider alternatives. People are really committed to maintaining the status quo. And when I say status quo, I mean life up until this point, right? Up until this point, right? Essentially. We as humanity have been through a traumatic experience in the last couple of years. I know that a lot of us don't realize it, but it's true. As a clinician, I think I'm qualified to make that assessment. And I am not the only one to make that assessment, okay? We've been through a lot, you know? We've been through being scared out of our wits about dying from this new mysterious virus, right? Early on in the pandemic, we saw bodies being thrown in, like in New York. I remember that footage of bodies being thrown in a pit, right? Because the deaths are so... I remember seeing those images, right? And we remember seeing Italy and all of the people dying, right? And so we were all petrified, okay? That's a trauma, right? And in that, we've been told, you know what? You're not allowed to socialize anymore. You need to stay within your bubble. You cannot see so-and-so. You have to stay distant. That and that in of itself, again, another trauma. You know, so many people weren't able to say goodbye to loved ones because of rules during the pandemic. You know, in hospitals, there weren't allowed visitors at one point. And so people died without family members at their bedside, right? That's a trauma. You know, children were robbed of the opportunity for regular school interaction, social interaction. Not even just with school, but going to friends' house and sleepovers and all of those activities were halted for long periods of time. Those activities that are essential to child development. That's a trauma, I was speaking to an educator who was sharing with me that the teachers are noticing that the children, they've never seen children behaving like this, right? And I think teachers are now seeing the manifestations of the consequences of the trauma that we as humanity have been through in the last 2.5 years, especially in countries like Canada. You know, we saw a lot of imposing of mandatory rules, right? Which took, you know, I saw a lot of people struggle and have to do things they didn't want to do in order to, you know, keep their life, right? It's a hard choice to make between your life and your livelihood and your current life and standing in your truth, right? And in my travels, especially most recently, and all the people that I've been meeting and speaking to, it's a real rarity for people to stand in their truth. It's a rarity. It's not something that's very common, right? We've been through a lot. We've been through a lot, family, and a lot of us are not even pausing to recognize that, right? And the truth of the matter is, it's not over. We're still going through it, right? I keep saying this, family, and I've been feeling this for a while, that it just feels like something is about to happen, family. We have to really be starting to really try to honestly look at what's going on around us and ask ourselves the difficult questions, right? Family, stay up. Do what you got to do to maintain your vibration, to maintain your good emotions. Do what you got to do, because I think we may be in for a bumpy ride. I hope I'm wrong. But that's what my intuition is telling me. Family, develop coping strategies from now, right? And that's why I've been kind of encouraging this I started this channel last May. Over the last year and a bit, is to really try to dive within, because we're going to need to know and listen, to be able to listen to that guidance within, to know how to stick and move, right? We're in some unprecedented times, and we've got to act in an unprecedented manner. We got to change up what we've been doing all along, family, right? Because things have clearly changed up in front of us and before our eyes, right? And so we have to respond accordingly. And so I hope that this major change in our lifestyles and how we live has triggered people to examine what's important, examine what's happening around them. Just do more examining, right? And less, and recognize that the life that we are programmed to live is really distracting from looking within. Okay, so don't let them win, right? Don't let the distractions prevent you from going on that journey within, family, especially right now at the end of September of 2022. Family, thank you for taking the time to listen to this message. I love and I value each and every one of you, and I honestly hope that each and every one of you are getting out in nature and are really taking care of yourselves, okay? Thank you for taking the time to listen, family. Again, I love and I value each and every one of you. One love.